From CPAC, following Alex Marlow, who I got to stay right here with me. It's kind of nice when we get to do this, Alex. Because,
I love it.
You know, I get your callers in the morning who are faithful. They hang on. They're like,
I love that.
I had one more question for Alex. So I go, well, I can't answer him, but on behalf of him, I'll do this. So we do that from time to time.
No, it is a real network, and I know that not all networks, all the hosts get along, and there's tension, and not so much on Patriot. We really genuinely like each other.
You know, I got a thought about that. And forget all the politics and everything for a second. I think it's who we are.
Yeah.
We don't sell envy like the left does. I don't
Absolutely.
envy you your success. Yeah. You don't envy mine. We don't envy Andrew's or anybody else. We have different opinions on things, different approaches, different beliefs, not lockstep agreement. But we actually want to see everybody thrive.
Yeah, and I think that our mentality is the pie is growing, the pie of wealth and success and creativity and innovation and credit and whatever it is that gets you up in the morning, gets you excited. I feel like if Webb's doing well, that's more space for me. I mean, the pie is growing, and so I like when you're doing well. I like when Andrew's doing well, and I like when my peers at Breitbart are doing well. It's interesting because it's very easy to get into an envy trap where you're focused on what other people have, but it's not in me. I don't know if it's in you, Dave.
No, it's not. To me, it's wasted energy. To me, it's actually detrimental to moving forward on anything in life if all you do is sell envy. I don't envy my neighbor, you know. Sure. The grass isn't greener. My grass is green. Their grass is green. So, you know, I think it's really the success of this channel. You know, Dave Gorab pioneered this.
Sure.
And you know, in the last decade, we're the juggernaut.
No, and everyone gives us such great feedback across the SiriusXM Patriot platform, and we're very grateful. But I have already lied to you because I'm very envious of that shirt. That is those cuffs are fantastic.
Got a style.
Who are you wearing?
Robert Graham.
Okay. Yeah. See that? You guys like that? Fashionistas out there.
That's right. We get fashion sense right here on radio. Right? Who are you wearing? All right. I'm reticent to bring this up for a different reason, and you've known me long enough now that it's a bit still of a heartbreak.
Yeah.
But I want a lot of people to do what I did this morning, which I do every morning, but go to the front page of Breitbart.
Thank you.
And look at the picture of Andrew there. And some of you will recognize the backdrop. I think we should just actually make it a meme. He would appreciate that. Where am I now?
Yes.
But 7 years, long time.
Yeah, it is.
And never long enough. It still hurts. We lost.
It hurts very badly. I'm getting chills just thinking about Andrew, who passed away on this day 7 years ago. And it was just coming after a CPAC where he was the star of the show, as he often was, and was screaming at stop raping the people to the Occupy protesters.
Remember that out in front of the hotel.
Yeah. I love his use of the in that case. Not stop raping people, stop raping the people. Drawing attention to the violence against women in particular at the Occupy encampments that were taking place. But Andrew's legacy is indelible. I think he's informed the thought of more people than ever. His book, Righteous Indignation, endures as well as any piece of modern conservative literature. And thank God, literally thank God he got that out before he passed away. And I feel like his influence is at every corner of this convention and every corner of the conservative movement. I don't think there'd be a Donald Trump without Andrew Breitbart. I don't think clearly Breitbart News would be as successful. And I think a lot of the next generation, my generation of conservatives, he's going to be he'll be like a founding father. And thank God for that. And thank God for folks like you and what we're doing at Breitbart News to keep the legacy alive.
Yeah, you know, how many people, I can't even count, came up to me yesterday and just, you know, out of the blue, can you believe it's been this long? And it began yesterday here at CPAC, young, old, different groups. And that's important. You said something that I find that I hadn't thought of in this way, the founding father of a new wave of conservatism.
That's right.
And Andrew really did pioneer a lot of that. Look at the confluence of events. We had the Tea Party movement. And I just saw Deneen Borelli. I remember Andrew, Deneen, myself out there on the stage in Philadelphia.
He was one of the original Tea Party advocates.
Saying we're there. And somebody came up yesterday. One of the things they said to me, they said, happy anniversary. Actually, it was Jenny Beth Martin that came up. She says, happy anniversary, Dave. Because we remember that moment, February 27th. And then we look at Andrew. And all of this, and all this spirit is still here.
Yes.
And I think you just actually put it in a very good way. The founding father. I think this is the new wave of conservatism, embracing 21st century, embracing technology, embracing the type of fight we're in, and to bring another person into it who I know is very, fond of Andrew still to this day, Larry Kudlow, my good friend who I talked to yesterday, and we were talking about putting socialism on trial and convicting it.
Yes.
And it's echoes of what Andrew said.
I love that mantra, by the way, by Kudlow. It's great phrase. I mean, and this feeds into what Andrew's doing, because Andrew was about being the happy warrior. So there's two components of that. Happy, you got to have a good time. You have a good time. You have a good time on your show.
I have a great time.
I have a great time on my show. But warrior, we're in a fight. This is a civil war. Thankfully, it's mostly nonviolent, but we're in a civil war of ideas in this country, and we can't be giving inches. We have to be prepared every day.
We have to be taking. We have to be taking ground.
Territory.
I'm not fighting for détente. I'm not fighting for
agree
peace.
To disagree.
I'm fighting for victory.
That's right. And we've got the arguments, and they've got the smear campaigns. And Andrew identified, and I played some clips of him in my broadcast, which is on demand, commercial free for you Patriot subscribers, and that's how I catch up on Webb Show a lot while I'm doing my work. I played some clips of him identifying specifically this issue, that the left, all they have is smears. They don't have arguments, and we got to make the arguments.
They sell envy. They sell envy, they sell emotion, they sell hate. When countered with the facts, what do? They attack. They denigrate. They go after you. And what Andrew did was he stood up and, the moment, hold up your cell phones, hold up your, every one of us has that device. It can record, it can send a message, it can capture them. They lie, they edit everything in life to try to sell you an outcome, because they can't make the economic argument. They can't make the logical argument for it. And if they can't do that, they just need to destroy the opposition.
That's right.
They're turning the narrative upside down. They're trying to turn reality into something else.
Yeah. And
that is just never going to work.
So David, what is your reaction? I know I'm interviewing you in your own show now, but what was your reaction to this back and forth that Rashida Tlaib had with Mark Meadows, where she's saying that bringing a black woman who has worked for the president to testify on the president's behalf makes her a prop, and this means that Meadows is a racist because he brought a prop, and you have a woman, a United States congressman, calling a black woman a prop for being black, which to me seems patently racist. This is the through the looking glass stuff that Andrew really predicted. He foreshadowed this.
Yeah, well, let's put it what it is. They're now embracing tokenism in the Democrat Party. They are now saying that if you exist and you don't fit our narrative and you're black, you're a token.
Right.
Now, I've heard it for years, and so have many other call it more public blacks, but now they're taking it to anyone who works for the administration, because it's an attempt to go after Donald Trump. You got to see that everything for Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, J-Paul, I believe is her name, and others, is a pathway to attack Trump. But it's not about Trump. Like Jussie Smollett, it's really about attacking Americans. 60+ million people didn't wake up after Obama and say we're all now racists. This is insulting. It's racism, and it's the worst form of insult to black people listening. I don't care whether you're a Republican, Democrat, or anywhere. Do you feel that you're not capable of thinking for yourself? Do you feel that the Democrats can tell you how to think, and if you go against it, you're somehow not black enough?
Are you with me that the Smollett, however you pronounce it, saga was really an attack on all the deplorables? It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a suggestion that the group of people that support the president are all, this is what's in there. This is plausible. That we are waiting. We want to bleach the skin of black gay people.
Well, for him, you go with the ego. One, I'm so important, I need to use anything to prop myself up for a contract negotiation. So that's just ego gone wild. And we've seen that in Hollywood a lot. Andrew and I grew up in that environment heavily. We saw that. But then he went further. He hates the president, so why don't I use that? The whole cry of the Democrat elected officials, including congressmen who say the MAGA hat is like the white hood, he says, let's use it. It's not about you and me, it's about all of us. He's attacking everyone. The city of Chicago, the residents should be pissed, and those tens of millions. Matter of fact, this country that has evolved, that has overturned the blight of racism. Yeah, racists exist. You know what we do in America? We deal with them and we get them off the main stage, so to speak. That's the nice way of putting it. But he wants to turn this into all of you are sudden racists. I just asked a simple question for Jussie Smollett. Did everybody wake up after Trump was elected and become a racist who supported him?
That seems to be the implication. And by the way, David, how is your white privilege going?
Oh, it's going great.
Did it help your credit score? I mean, what does it mean to have white?
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah,
my credit score immediately went up.
Yeah, that's right.
Because when I'm black, I'm being kept down, or I'm a token.
Apparently, but you make a good living, so you might have some sort of level of white privilege.
Well, I wrote, and I rarely do this, an open letter. I've never done it, actually. When I say rarely, I've never done it. And I wrote, from one black man to another, to Jussie Smollett. And it started right there. Yeah. We both have a level of privilege.
Yeah.
I have a huge platform on radio and television and on Fox Nation. You have a huge platform. You look at all the people. But from Jussie and I, he had a huge platform as a star on a show.
Network TV.
Right. I don't begrudge him that. And he abused it for his own ego, and then he tried to smear those people.
Yes.
This is the ego of the left, selling envy and hate to get what they want at your expense.
It's a great point, and I think about this a lot when you have a society where it is getting a little bit more difficult, I feel like, to traverse from class to class in some ways. And this is something that's going to be a challenge, not one of the most immediate challenges, but a challenge we're going to have to face, I think, as a society. And thinking about where you are in your life and your obligations, and there is something when you're successful that I think luck does play a factor. Hard work is the most important thing.
Right.
But luck and gifts and privilege, not skin tone privilege, I don't think that has
real
to do with
privilege is earned, whether it's economic privilege, social, cultural, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Look, you can do everything right in life and end up getting the bad end of the stick because that's life.
That's life.
You can do things mediocre and end up getting the best end of the deal. Whatever it is, you have a responsibility once you've gotten there.
Yes.
The difference between social responsibility, the way they sell it, and real social responsibility is: are you good? Are you fair? Are you open?
Sure.
Are you honest with your fellow man?
And this goes back to where we started, which is that shouldn't the obligation be for Americans? Shouldn't our goal be to do the best with what we have, to do the best with our gifts, to not waste our own talent? We all have some talent, to do the best we can with our talent, to get the most information, to seek out wisdom, seek out knowledge, and try to expand that pie that we talked about. And the socialist left-wing values that are now the values of the Democratic Party are: there's a fixed level of wealth, there's a fixed level of happiness, there's a fixed whatever you have is the expense of someone else. Such a toxic, un-American message to me.
Well, they sell something else which I find patently offensive. And as someone who knows a lot of wealthy people, just because of the circles I'm in, there are good and bad people there. Yeah. The wealthy are not bad, neither are the poor.
Right.
And I know people who also make $35,000, $40,000, $45,000 a year, work hard, who are some of the happiest, wealthiest people around. Why? It's what you design and you work for, and you realize, I'm happy here.
Yes.
And this is something they're selling us. They're again, back to envy. If it's a billionaire or a millionaire, envy them. And the poor are somehow the worse off. Well, different levels don't make you a bad person. Who you are does.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. David, what's your what are you enjoying or not liking on CPAC?
I'm not liking some of the echo chamber that's going on in the room. And look, I appreciate it. You need, especially for the newcomers, the young people, you need to get them ginned up with the speeches from the main stage. But I've heard a little too much of the echo chamber. I want more of the engagement. I'm not a fan of standing on stage for 20 minutes and talking to you. I am a fan of engaging the audience and letting them have feedback. But I can't say it's all bad, because when you look at the boot camps, what goes on in the training sessions, the rooms, and what I also encourage people to do is go down to the exhibitors. They spend their money to come here to help you, so go see them. But we need to, little less echo chamber, little more engagement, and a little more aggressive engagement. I said this to Hayden Williams yesterday. I understand you got punched, you got beat. This is the kid at UC Berkeley.
Sure.
But there's a point when the response has to be an aggressive response. I'm not advocating violence. There's a difference. But sometimes your response has to be, it's time to fight.
Right.
And the left, they're going to destroy us if we don't fight.
So do you think he should have punched back?
Yes.
Literally? Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense to me. And it's interesting, because everything's
legally
on video.
it's self-defense.
Yeah.
All right, number one.
Yeah.
And I get it. He seems like a nice kid. He says, look, I'm not a fighter. I get all of that. But you can lose the fight and win the battle.
When I was at Berkeley, they merely called me a racist and shouted me down so I couldn't speak. But I did not get punched. So things are apparently not going well on the Berkeley campus, if this is the state of play there. But that's all this is part of my advantage. And when I started working for Andrew, I was still in my final semester at Berkeley. Those of you who haven't listened to our show here in the morning, I'm Breitbart, I bring this up quite a number of times. But the left was exactly what we're now seeing admitted open from these new leaders of the Democratic Party, with the obsession with race, with the obsession with socialism. That was all on the Berkeley campus 15 years ago when I was there, latent, waiting to bubble up.
Right.
And now it's here.
And now it's gone mainstream for them within their party. But the very similar thing exists with Antifa. Antifa had been in Europe for well over 15 years. And then you had Occupy here, and then you saw the slow move. I have friends in Stockholm, friends up in Norway and other areas. Yes, with my white privilege, I've got to make sure I keep it covered. But on a serious note, they've told me about Antifa's activities over there 15 years ago.
Right.
This European anti-American socialist left is not new. They didn't form here. They have simply migrated here. And they're building into this Democrat Party and this socialist left. And when you look at what's going on in Venezuela, you had the Soviet Union, you have Venezuela today. Remarkably different superpower versus smaller country by contrast, but the very same loss of a culture, destruction of a society at a scale that if we ever see that again spread, it's going to be bad for the world. And that's why America needs to be the bulwark.
So are you at all surprised by the left's embrace of this stuff openly? It seems like
no, because I saw it coming.
I'm not either, but I feel like a lot of people, it's just dawning on them that this was always the goal. The goal was always to create some sort of a socialist system to fundamentally transform America. Bernie Sanders repeated that line. That's Obama's famous line. But when Bernie Sanders announced, he came out and said, we're going to transform the country. We're going to transform it.
Right. He said, what is it? My radical ideas are now mainstream.
Right.
Within the party. Well, they're not mainstream in America. So let me say this to everyone listening. I don't care what side of anything you come from. Ask yourself a simple question. Should somebody else control so much of your life in every aspect, legally, legislatively, economically, healthcare, anything that matters to you? Do you want to hand that control over to someone? If you do, move the hell out of America. If you want something else, stay here and fight for it.
I love that, David. I got to run, lead an editorial call, but it is a blast to be with you.
It's good to see you, man.
Thank you.